96 gigabytes, 6,600 mega transfers. This is the Corsair Dominator Titanium DDR5 RAM in this beautiful white color, and I'm gonna have it installed on my White Vision compact build. Now it's rocking the X870E AORUS Pro ICE, and if you guys have seen my previous video where I have installed this and showcased it, I did try to install these 96 gigabytes of Trident Z5 RGB, and both of these RAMs are Intel XMPs. They're not AMD Expo, so this RAM unfortunately did not work at all on this motherboard over here. It wasn't a part of the QVL list, of course, but I still attempted it anyways just to see if I can get it to post. It did not work. However, the Corsair Dominator in white is listed on the QVL list for the AORUS Pro ICE, so it should definitely work this time. Right now, I currently have 64 gigabytes of the Trident Z5 Neo RGB, and these have AMD Expo, and it did post perfectly fine. But if you're someone who does a lot of productivity, you might want more memory, so 96 gigabytes is perfect. So let's go ahead and unbox the Corsair Dominator Titanium and see what it's all about. Now this is Corsair's most premium RAM sticks here, and the price of this is very expensive, but you do also get some really ultra low timings as well. So this is CL32. So the first thing I'm noticing is that they are individually wrapped here, which looks pretty nice. Go ahead and open this up here. All right, and there we have the Corsair Dominator Titanium in this beautiful white color. Let's go ahead and peel this off real quick. Now my first impression is that these are very large. Now compared it to the Trident Z5, you can see the size difference over here. It's definitely massive, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that this top piece over here has these two RGB strips here, which you actually have the ability to remove altogether and have it replaced with other things, or maybe you can even have it without it. So we got 48 gigabytes each, combining for 96 gigabytes. So let's go ahead and install it. Now before upgrading your memory, the first thing you want to do obviously is to power off your PC, and most importantly you want to make sure you also switch off the power supply unit as well. Make sure there's no power at all. So once you confirm that, depending on your setup here, if you have full access to the RAM sticks, you could just take them off completely and then slot in the new ones. If you have a vertical mount or something that's blocking the pathway of these RAM sticks, then you are going to need to probably remove a couple of the components or move out certain tubings and things like that. But in this scenario here, I have full access to my RAM sticks, so all I have to do here is lift this up here, and this one as well. And on this motherboard specifically, there's also two additional tabs on the bottom. So once those are loose, I can just pull it out. We got the first one out, second one out, and now we're ready to put the Corsair Dominator Titanium. And of course, you want to make sure you match up the notches before you install it. But generally, the barcode or serial number should be shooting on the left side, and the really nice clean design will be on the right side. So let's go ahead and slot that in. And always, when you're installing RAM, you always want to do both A2 and B2, so the second or fourth slots. And then you apply pressure. All right, that went in nice and smooth. And now for the last one here. All right, now both of these are in. And one thing I noticed here is that on the RGB LED strips here, it does say Dominator on top in white, which looks pretty cool. And the height of these RAMs are very tall. As you can see, they're almost matching the Kraken Elite over here. But overall, these definitely look really nice. All right, so let's go ahead and see if it posts. So we're gonna go ahead and power it up right on the motherboard right here. Nice little power switch. Now, first thing I'm noticing here is that the RGBs are lining up really nicely. All right, it's looking like we finally got a post here. I want to say it took about probably like 3, 4, 5 minutes. I want to say give or take, but we were able to finally get it posted. Let's go ahead and unlock this here and see what we got. So whenever you want to see the RAM speeds here, you just go to Task Manager, and you want to go to Performance here. And what's actually really crazy here, I don't know if you can see this here, but Let me bring this in as close as possible. But it looks like the speed is already at 6600 mega transfers. I actually did not even have to do anything. And it looks like it was already overclocked. Now this is probably because I already had the other RAM overclocked already under the AMD Expo profile. So maybe the BIOS is automatically overriding it and also overclocking this one. So it looks like it took the XMP profile, which is pretty cool. I was not even expecting that. I was really expecting this to show up as 4800 mega transfers. So then we can go ahead and overclock it. But it's looking like we already got the fastest speeds here. So what I'm going to do is boot into BIOS and see if it already has the XMP profile already enabled. All right, so whenever you're trying to boot into the BIOS, just make sure you start spamming the delete key. I actually missed out on the first time because my keyboard was connected via the USB hub on this monitor here, and there is a delay connecting to the keyboard, so I completely missed it. So there you go, right there, we're already on the BIOS. So let's go ahead and take a closer look here and see what's going on. We can see here it's already booted into advanced. I'm going to hit easy mode real quick here, and on the bottom left here we can see the Corsair 48 gigabytes 4800 mega transfer. So this is the standard speed here. So if it's not overclocked, then it'll default to these two speeds here. If you have 4 of these, then that number would go down to 3600 mega transfers. The stability is not going to be the best. Now you can see on the XMP/Expo profile, it automatically defaulted to XMP1. But if you're in a situation where you've never overclocked before, then if you're in the BIOS, then you'll be able to adjust it very easily here under easy mode, or you can go under advanced mode. Some motherboards, you might have to go through each of these lists, have the XMP/Expo profile here, and you can just disable it or enable it. Generally, the first option should be perfectly fine. And we can see here it's DDR5 6600, which is the speed, and these are the timings here. So it's 32, 39, 39, and 76 with a voltage rating of 1.4 volts. Now this is your first time overclocking, then as long as you enable the XMP profile, you can just hit save and exit. Over here, save and exit setup, and then you just hit yes. All right, so in order for you to control the RGB lighting on the Dominator Titanium, you could download Corsair's IQ software. Now I did go to the Gigabyte Control Center. It actually does not detect the Dominator. The G skills were detected, but these aren't. So I might not be able to control the RGB lighting from the motherboard itself. So I may have to use the IQ link. You can use other RGB software like Signal RGB, for example, but I like to use separate software to control different aspects of lighting. So once you download IQ for the first time, it will give you these little prompts here. In this case, it does detect Gigabyte Control Sensor here, so it's probably going to confirm. So I'm just going to approve all of these confirmations here. It even detects my Stream Deck. I'll just accept them for now and see what kind of settings we could play with. Now right over here, we do have an update automatically available, which is pretty nice here. So we're going to hit update now. So right here it says quit other applications controlling your PC hardware, such as Gigabyte RGB Fusion, Armory Crate, MSI Center. So now we're going to hit got it here, and it should start updating now. So we can see over here we have the version 0.9.16, and it is now updating. So we're going to wait for that to finish. All right, now that we have everything updated, that was pretty easy. So right over here, it looks like we have a lot of different options here, such as dim setups, lighting effects, cooling, alerts, and performance manager. So under lighting effects is probably where we can obviously control the lighting of here. Looks like I can have all these cool different options here. So let's go ahead and click on color pulse here. Choose a different color. So for example, let's say I go with a nice pink and alternate that to a white color. We can change the speed to fast, and it'll shift between 2 colors. So there's a whole bunch of different effects here that you can definitely mess with. And what is really cool about this is that you can actually set it to each dim. So right over here I have the solid color here, and I can actually control the lighting of how much of white I actually want. So for example, if I click the middle, you can see the lighting change to each individual. So a whole bunch of different ways to customize the RAM. But I'm just going to click on all. I think that's just going to be the easiest. I click on home, so that stayed perfect. We have cooling here, so it actually tells us the temperatures of each of these RAM sticks here. So that's pretty cool for those that really want to dive into that. We can set different alert status. And on the performance manager, it looks like we have more advanced DIY stuff here. So for those that like to really get down to the timings and all that good stuff that I'm personally not gonna dive into myself personally, but for those that want full control, then you can definitely do that. All right, and I ended up changing the color here to kind of better match the color scheme that I got going on. Added a little bit of some turquoise here, and I think it looks really nice. Overall, I think these are some really high quality RAM sticks with really fast timings. Now, this is 96 gigabytes of memory. Having that extra memory for me helps me out a lot. If you plan on using the Dominator Titanium, you want to make sure they're compatible first for your motherboard to avoid any type of headaches that you may have to experience. When it comes to RAM, especially these white ones, they're only Intel XMPs. They have AMD Expo versions, but they're in a gray color. So thankfully, AORUS tested out and verified that the white ones work on this all-white motherboard. So that I'm really happy about, especially the fact that I have 96 gigabytes. I'm really happy about it. The price is very expensive, but you are paying for the aesthetics of the RAM sticks. I think the aesthetics of this RAM stick is definitely up there, so I have no issues recommending this RAM stick for those that are looking for some really high quality RAM sticks with beautiful aesthetics, because this is absolutely beautiful. So I'm really happy with this Dominator Titanium. The only thing I don't like is the fact that you have to use separate software just to control the lighting of this. I wish I could control it off of the motherboard. It just would save a lot of time and resources. However, you do get a lot of customization options, and I love the fact that we can update the firmware and check all the stats of your RAM sticks to get more into it. Now, I know there's a lot of customization options you can do with the top portion of this RAM. You can completely remove it or whatnot, but again, that's not something for me. Just on this, I think it looks really nice. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Firewolf out.